up, everybody on the stream? All right. Our producer back at the station's not very good at math. So we're a little, he said he sucks, so we're a little early on the stream, but that's all right. We're joining our radio audience here in about a moment. Stand by open. Standing by. Sitting by. Alrighty. Flyers are back in action tonight as they begin one of two in the state of Florida. Game 2 of a 3-game road trip. Tonight it's against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They'll wrap it up Saturday against the Cup champion Florida Panthers. It's Jason Martinez, Chris Tarian, and Brian Smith in Tampa as the Flyers get set to try and grab 2 points, 2 needed points here early in the season as they sit in the bottom spot of the Metropolitan Division. But Bundy, we can't bury the lead here as Matvei Michkov comes out as a healthy scratch for John Tortorella. It's not punitive, but it's not a reward either for Matvei Michkov. He comes out of the lineup tonight. Were you shocked by the decision?
I don't want to say shocked, but if you look at Torts' history, he's an equal opportunity assessor of talent, and it doesn't seem to matter really. You know what? Listen, Michkov has done some really good things early in the year, but his 5-on-5 play has not been great. And that's the real truth here. Now, listen, are we looking
hold on,
to
Bundy.
make him...
The analytics say...
I don't... Yeah, it doesn't matter what that says. Yeah, you get me going good. I know you can start me up with a flip of a stat sheet. But you know what? Listen, and again, it's not because he doesn't want to be or he doesn't care. It's because he just doesn't understand sometimes. And it's about learning. It's a smaller rink. Space is so tight. And you've got guys jump those holes so fast. So I think for him, it's a learning experience. It's a good game to watch from Amalie Arena. You're right over top of the arena, as Brian Smith will tell you right now. And he'll be up there tonight watching with intent. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's a game that would tick me off if I were him because, Kucherov's on the other side. Vasilevsky, you want to see some, fellow comrades, and that opportunity will not happen tonight. But it doesn't matter. Torts is trying to make him a better player, and this is a learning experience for Matvei Michkov, his first one in the league. And it might be, based on the way he's gone in a couple of games, guys, probably a couple games too late. I think he had a little bit of rope there.
I've always been kind of the opinion, and Bundy, you can relate to this better than even we can, but the fact that you come up here where I'm at and the game looks so much slower, you can see everything develop, you can watch the way guys play off the puck versus being at ice level. It's like an absolute fire drill. Everything's flying around you. You can sit on the bench and try to watch guys play without the puck, but you can't really see anything. I look at the whole situation and say, just the perspective of being up here for a game, I feel like it can help him when he gets back down there and jumps back into the NHL speed.
Yeah, 100%. And you get to see how the play develops. You can see where things are. And again, I can assure you the coaches said, hey, don't just go up there and sit and eat popcorn and drink soda for the night. Watch the game. Make sure you're following. I wouldn't even be surprised if they have somebody watching the game with them. It's a good learning tool. One game missing here or another game, or if it's early in the year, to try to get him going, I think is a really, really good thing. And I don't think it's a bad thing if he uses it wisely. He's a young player. He has to understand that. And I think that this is very much part of the process, and certainly one for a John Tortorella coach team with youngsters on it.
Bundy, let me ask you this, because in 1991, you played 36 games at PC at Providence College. You played 36 the next season, and you played 33 in 92-93. And you wrapped up a couple Canadian national teams that year, and the next year you ended up playing for the Canadian national junior team and then also with the Bears. But then the following year, in 94-95, you ended up playing 82 games between the AHL and the NHL when you made your debut, 48 for the Flyers. Talk about what it's like going from playing, basically less than 40 games a year to now going and playing 82 against men, the best players in the world, and the physical, mental, and emotional toll that can take on you at that part of your hockey journey.
Yeah, you can get gobbled up pretty easily, if you're not staying up with it. Absolutely. And, it wouldn't be, it's happened to many players, and that's certainly not what's going to happen to Matvei Michkov. He's got too much talent. He's got too much skill, and he's got some grit, too, to add to that. So I'm not worried about it. This is just to teach him here. Here's where we'd like to see it defensively. Here's some other situations. Have a look at it. We want you to be better. We still want you to produce, but we do need a little bit here. Like guys just can't automatically go right by and just start getting pucks to the net because he's on the ice. You can't have a liability on the ice, and that's one of the things they're going to shake out of him. He's never ever going to be a great two-way hockey player, and he doesn't. That's not necessarily what you want from a goal scorer. He's not going to be a shot blocker, but there has to be some semblance of some defense, and I think that's certainly a part of the game that he needs to learn to get better at right away.
There's no free ice. You can't give away ice out there.
Correct. That's what he's done.
You got to earn it all and make them earn. That's the biggest problem. You just said the second part, Jason. He needs to. He's allowed them to earn it, and that's been the problem. You got to be harder to play. You've got to be in that space, and because everything happens so quick, and you guys know that. I mean, it's just such a tic-tac-toe league now. The way guys move that puck, everything can happen. And if you're not there, you're going to get victimized on a lot of it.
Bundy, I'll move real quick to the last game in Carolina, and a lot of us here watching it were a little surprised. Second intermission, we look at the sheet, we realize the Flyers only had 3 shots on goal. And then at the end of the game, I'm down in the tunnel watching the last minute or so, look up at the scoreboard, realize there's only 3 shots on goal. Didn't feel like a game where they were having that much trouble, but obviously the numbers don't lie. What goes into a team trying to get more pucks to the net? Just because, obviously if you can't get it to the net, you're not going to score no matter how many chances you have.
It doesn't matter, and that's it. You can cycle all you want, and it's a matter of trying to get the puck into the middle of the ice, and that's really been the challenge, I think. And I actually talk about keys to the game. We always seem to hit one of my keys early in the pregame, Smitty, and you actually just mentioned exactly what one of my keys is today, and it's about puck possession, and we'll get to it after. I'll be more specific and change the literature on how I present that to you, but that's the magic question, and it's how you do that. How do you cycle, get two quick plays, boom, boom, and then there's a shooter available in the middle. Or the defense are active, and they're trying a lot of different things. But I think the Flyers need to really keep the foot down, put the work in. But you've got to find a way to either get it to the net or attack the goalie with the puck. That's the other thing. You can score different ways in hockey. They're not always going to be 100-mile-an-hour one-timers. So the luxury for the Flyers is they're able to do that, and that's part of the luxury of this team. We did it last year. This team did a lot of it last year on the ice. And we haven't seen a lot of those fortuitous bounces that maybe we saw last year. But I think at times, too, we haven't seen quite that little bit of edge. There's sometimes that little bit missing. And I think that's what we need to see the Flyers do. Get back more with that puck possession, hard-nosed attitude.
Yeah, sometimes it's just that little, if you scoop 1% off, all of a sudden your proximity to the net is so different. You can't get inside because you need that extra 1%. But you see, I totally agree with that it looks like that there's just 1 or 2% that aren't there that we saw in the beginning of last year, that edge, that, that bleep you attitude. Everybody thought we were going to stink. We'll show you belief in the coming together. I feel like we haven't seen that.
They haven't, and again, you make a lot of your own road in the NHL, and in most professional sports leagues, who you are is who you are. Your record will dictate that, and you can say what you want about the start to this year and compare it to last year. And I know we said, early, I think you said that they 4-5 or 4-5-1 at one point, I think after
Correct,
10.
After 10, yeah.
But this is really the part of the schedule we saw last year that they really started to flourish. They didn't have to crawl out of a hole like they're in right now, but that's certainly one of the things when you talk about the difference between last year and this year. There was those opportunities. They were fighting for their space on the ice, and I think a little bit more of it just has to be a little bit more edge, a little bit more will to compete, and to try to get that job done.
Another thing that I haven't seen, I'm curious what you guys think of this, is that it just doesn't seem like the decision-making is quite as quick as it should be or was last year. And in the one place I've seen it is on shots on goal. Like I've seen several occasions this year where a guy gets a puck, and even from us watching up top, we're expecting a shot, and that shot doesn't come for maybe half or 3/4 of a second. And in this league, that's enough time for somebody to get in front of it or for somebody to get a stick on it. And I'm just curious if you guys have seen that as well. Like, just the decision making might be just a little bit slow.
A little bit slow. I mean, I could name a few times. more, a pass being made too late on a 2-on-1. But really, it's a cycling play. I mean, that's got to happen. So boom, boom, boom. Like there's a pass, a play behind the net, a quick play. Maybe someone rolls off a hit, and then someone's got to get open, however it is. And that's where those plays are made. And defensively as well, too. When those pucks go back to the point, those defensemen have a responsibility to get those shots through. If the shots don't go through, I mean, take a look at them. If you miss the net, unless you have a direct intention of putting it behind the net and having it ricochet back out in front of the crease, that's one good play. But it's so essential now that defensemen find a way to manufacture pucks through to the net. And if they're not doing a good enough job of that, puts an awful lot of pressure and stress on the forwards up front to repossess the puck and then try again themselves.
And Bundy, a big part of that for the defenseman is it's not just being static and bombing from where you're standing still. It's being able to straddle that blue line, backing up and find a lane to the net. That's incumbent upon the D-man in this league where everybody likes to block shots because they're all wearing a suit of armor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your day, they were wearing a suit of armor.
Yeah, I mean, it's blocking shots now. I mean, it's so many guys now. I mean, it's you're supposed to mirror the guy in front of you with that puck and put your body on the line to make a hard play, which can be very difficult sometimes. But that's the key, and if you can work through that, because everybody's got their stick out, everybody's lying down in front of shots if you can, or getting your body in the way. And that's I would say new. It's always been part of it. It's just that there's more guys that are willing to do it.
Yeah, because they're better protected.
Yes, correct.
You know what I'm saying? Cooper shin pads. They're not wearing those things with foam and a piece of plastic that can break. Let's take our first time out. We're going to go a view from the booth with Tim Saunders down in Tampa coming up. We've got Bundy's 3 keys to victory. We've got the starting lineups and obviously some goalie changes tonight with Kolosov out, injuring himself this morning at the morning skate. Fedotov goes in. I am not the E-Bug. Everybody is happy to hear. I missed the flight. We'll take the time out. We're coming back after this. You're listening to the Fanatic Flyers pregame show on the Flyers Broadcast Network. Man, Tim, have a great call tonight. Thanks for doing this. Tim Saunders and Todd Fedora coming up at the top of the hour. Countdown to face-off and all the first period action. Chris Tarian and Brian Smith from Amalie Arena in Tampa rejoin now. Bundy, Kolosov goes down today. A guy that's been able to watch some games from upstairs. I don't know if it benefits the goaltender like it would maybe benefit a skater to see the game slowed down in that regard. But Fedotov gets an opportunity due to the injury to Kolosov, and frankly, when this happens, and given the way things have gone here so far for Fedotov, he's got to grab this one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an opportunity for him to seize the moment and to put himself back in a favorable light with the team. Not that he's not, but it's that the fact that he wants to get back on his game. You know, he looked like he was a starter here. Kolosov went to the minors, and then after a couple of down starts for him, he finds himself back in the net. And you know what? It doesn't matter how you got there. It's that you're back in there and you have an opportunity presented to you against a team that has been in the news a lot over the last 5 years, 6 years. It's a good spot again. Like Kolosov the other night when he went down, or when Ursan went down and Kolosov went out, I thought he played pretty well. Another type of similar opportunity with Fedotov, except he had the day to think about it.
And in too, Bundy, I think there's a little bit of it in the locker room when something like this happens. It's like, let's galvanize around this guy, right? I know, not to say that Fedotov's the kind of guy that needs galvanizing. I mean, if the backup gets in, then we need to galvanize. But still, it's like, they want to help him be successful, and they know he's had a little bit of struggle, and it's I think it's a little bit of a boost to them just to say let's get out there and play well in front of them.
Yeah, and absolutely. And if you're the players, you're saying to yourself, let's do a good job for our goalie tonight. Everyone's going to be focused, and that'll be a lot of chatter in the locker room before the game and between periods. And that really is just a matter of focus right there. Go out and play your game, and don't worry about how your goaltender does. Play your game and let him worry about his.
I remember when I worked with Mike Missinelli, he would always, when the backup goalie was in, he had the backup goalie theory for betting the game. You got that one game with the back, everybody bears down because they know they don't have their horse back there, the backup goalie theory. But does the backup goalie theory hinder your ability to generate offense is what I'm wondering. Because you're going to hinder to lock down your D zone, but they need to start locking down and playing down at the other end.
Chase, for the Flyers, to be quite honest with you, it doesn't really matter necessarily who they've had or who they're playing or what system, because that's been the problem, is turning defense into offense. So, whether that's the case and Fedotov's the goalie, there's really no need for them to, in any way, shape, or form, have to worry about that, because it doesn't matter who their goalie is. They've been in kind of that quicksand type of mode, getting from the defense into a transitional offense, and cycling and puck possession has been a problem. So, again, whether it's that goalie or someone else, they just have to go out and play hard and compete hard tonight in Tampa.
Yeah, and there's a true ATO tonight. Kyle Conan is the backup goalie here this evening. It's been an interesting day in terms of getting all that squared away, but I don't know if that's a benefit or not, but just the fact that Kolosov went down in warm-ups or in practice this morning, as opposed to something like in warm-ups or during the game, the Flyers actually do get to have a second goalie available in case something really goes off the rails. It's the same guy they would get if it happened during the game, but I feel like it settles things down a little bit. Already with this team, missing Ryan Poehling, and then now Matt Michkov's not going to be in the lineup. So, it almost creates an us against the world mentality, I feel like, when you have a situation like this and a building like this against this team.
You know what? I've seen the Flyers be in situations like this before. Remember Rob Zepp?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, that was way worse than this situation.
Yeah.
In terms of you talking about
goalies deep that year, Bundy.
Yep.
I mean, that was just one of those ones where no one even knew who he was, right?
No.
And you had to play him in a game. That's where the Flyers were at in that situation.
Yeah, they brought in Cal Pickard, Mike McKenna. The list went on and on and on that year. It was insane how many goalies they dressed throughout that season.
Our buddy tonight, by the way, is wearing 72, which I haven't seen on a goalie here in a while.
72? Is that what Bobrovsky wears?
Yeah, that was Bob's number, yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, that would have been very fitting for Saturday when the Flyers play against Florida, and we'll see if it's Bobrovsky that ends up in the net, but we shall see. All right, stay tuned. We've got the countdown to face-off coming up. We've got Bundy's 3 keys to victory. We've got line combinations and much more as the Flyers get set to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. You're listening to the Fanatic Flyers pregame show on the Flyers Broadcast Network. for Philadelphia Flyers hockey as the Flyers will take on the Tampa Bay Lightning at Amalie Arena down in Tampa tonight. Coming up, Bundy will have his 3 keys to victory. But let's get to some line combinations. Tim alluded to it. Couturier, Tippett, and Konechny together. Bundy, I like the way that Tippett really kind of pushed the pace in that game the other night and didn't seem like he was content to just do it on the outside.
No, I agree. I mean, very, very solid in that hockey game. Again, was it 4? He had 4 points in that game, if I'm not mistaken.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. And Coots was good too. That line's good. They've got some chemistry going. Looks like Torts has found his early season pair there for sure. One of those lines.
Anthony Richard gets the call-up Monday. He will be playing with Morgan Frost and Bobby Brink. And one thing we saw about Richard in the preseason, dude's got wheels. He can skate.
He can move. He's been a very, very good producer in the minors. He's had a hard time translating that to the NHL level, but he's also probably not seeing first 2-line minutes. So he'll have an opportunity tonight to shine and see if he can make his mark in the NHL here tonight.
Did Torch say that he'd be on the power play as well, I believe?
Yes, he is. We saw him on PP1 this morning, just sitting right in the Mishkov's spot on the half wall. So, he's a winger, but he's going to get that opportunity tonight when it comes up.
Yeah, well, that's a great opportunity for him. Lawton with Forster and Farabee. Noah Cate's going to center the 4th line with Garnet Hathaway and Nick Delarier in the lineup tonight. D pair, Sanheim and Drysdale will begin the game together once again. Sealer and Ristolainen, Emil Andre and Zamula round out the 3rd pair. Bundy, on one of the goals the other night, Zamula got caught going behind the net, not picking up the guy in front of the net. When you watch him, are you kind of seeing a guy that's almost maybe in his own head a little bit? Yeah,
it happens. That happens. It's one of those plays I know where you're thinking it looks good what you're doing, and it doesn't work out. It's the ugliest looking thing on the ice. Yeah, maybe, Jace. You know what? I won't tip it away because it's coming up in a couple minutes. But I'm gonna add maybe some of that to one of my keys tonight about Zamula. But yeah, maybe just overthinking things a little bit too much.
Yeah, and you've always said simplify and help you.
Yeah.
Smart, simple play sometimes. Let's get to the Bundy 3 keys to victory for the Flyers to come out of Tampa tonight with a couple of points. Bundy, key number 1.
Well, key number 1 tonight is a simple one, Jace. It's just play. Don't focus on what isn't. Focus on what is. And you know what? That means you've got all kinds of things going on if you're the team. I mean, Mishkov, he's getting sat out tonight for developmental reasons, if you want to. I think Torts called it that, developmental scratching, if you want to call it. So, again, you've got an e-bug as your backup. You've got your goalie got hurt in practice. You can't worry about these things. Just go out and play. Worry about the things that you can do. That's number 1. 5-on-4 power play is just got to find a way for it to execute. It did a good job. 5-on-3 got the job done, but I need to see more out of the Flyers power play in terms of getting quality puck opportunities to the crease area. And I'd like to see that kind of ramped up a little bit. And the last one, again, it goes back to another what we talked about, offensive zone possession. When you can, I'm not saying hang on to it, but hang on to it. Hang on to the puck. Wait for a guy to come support it, wheel that thing around, and then get somebody back out to the middle or somewhere for a semblance of a shot. You can't keep going 2-3 shots in a period and expecting, hoping that one of them goes in. That's not the way it goes. You've got to have a sustained attack. The Flyers tonight with the offensive zone possession have got to be on their game.
And looking at those keys, Bundy, like 3 leads to 2 for me, right? It's just sometimes I feel like just watching these last few games that the Flyers are a little bit too much in their own head. They panic a little bit, and then trying to make sure that they don't lose the puck, they do something that doesn't lead to anything, and then they lose it then. And if you're losing the puck, you're not getting the shots to the net. It's just it all builds on each other.
It totally does, Smitty. And again, it comes down to timing, which is a really big part of that. We mentioned that earlier. Just talking about the timing of things. It's a split second, and how that can make a difference. So, little things, little tiny things are what the Flyers are missing right now. And then the end of the game again. When you're tied in that, you've got to lock that down. That's your job. Late in the hockey game. I know those Flyers were gassed at the end of that hockey game, but you get a tight situation. The other team's best players are on the ice. You have got to find a way to get that puck out of the zone, forwards and defensemen.
My Mount Rushmore of great all-time philosophers. I got Plato. I got Aristotle. You got to have Socrates on the list. And I got Big Al Bundy on the list. Don't just go and play. Don't worry what isn't. Worry about what is. That's a good. I like that.
Yeah, and that's it. That's what they have to do. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. That's a nice. That's a great Mount Rushmore. Everybody's a Mount Rushmore or something, Jason. They say so. Thanks for finding mine. Yeah, but again, these are just little things. Just go play hockey. You know, follow your structure of your game. Do the things that Torts has implemented for you, and put the hard work in. And I think that's really what this team's looking for today. It's a good hard work effort. Again, I thought they played okay the other night. Not bad. They did a good job. I think you're just inside a minute away from getting a point down in Carolina, maybe with a chance at 2. It didn't happen, but they're going to have that same amount of fight in them. And when they have a chance to bury the puck, they're going to have to capitalize. Vasilevsky's a guy you have to challenge. You have got to go into that paint with him and really make his life miserable.
Sorry about that. Beach has 23 messages. A bad move by Torts. Number 39, who's Matvei Michkov, has to play as much as he can. We saw this last year with Leo Carlsson. He played 55 games last year. Some guys that are Euros, Bundy, they're too good to play over there for their development, but they're maybe to play 82 games here right away at 18, 19 years of age. There's this notion that he just needs to play and play his way through it. That is not beneficial.
Well, it's not beneficial, and it's not what you're going to get from John Tortorella. He's going to want to try to make you a better hockey player, and that's part of what goes through it. We said beginning of the year I wanted him to just see if I wanted to see him play, just to go play. But I understand that there's a road and a path that needs to be taken, and he's on that path right now. So I don't think it's a bad thing. Would I like to see him out there? Sure, I would. And he'll have a look at this game tonight and be ready to go, I would hope, again against Florida.
Smitty, last thing. Who's your focus tonight?
I want to see what Anthony Richard can do here at the NHL level. He's got 24 games under his belt, and we all thought he had a really good camp. The Flyers front office thought he did too. So excited to see him get a shot and see what he can do in this current situation.
Anthony Richard gets in the lineup tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers. It's set to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Stay tuned. Tim Saunders, Todd Fedora, countdown to face-off, and all the first period action is coming up right after this. You've been listening to the Fanatic Flyers pregame show on the Flyers Broadcast Network.